finding that your team's progress sometimes relies entirely on your personal involvement on a day-to-day basis? Well, while being the primary problem solver, or what I call the hero leader, shows your dedication, it ultimately limits how much your team and ultimately the organization can grow. Now, in this video, I'm exploring how to transition from direct intervention to scalable leadership, ensuring that your impact continues even when you aren't in the room. Now, hi, if you're new here, my name's Penny Wood, and I help senior leaders and executives bridge the gap between having a seat at the table and actually shaping the direction of the business using my master move method. If you're ready to move out of the operational weeds and start driving the agenda, hit the subscribe button and join a community of leaders who are done with the status quo. Now let's dive into our first topic. Now, first of all, I want to explore uncovering your personal triggers around wanting to be that primary problem solver, or what I call that hero leader a lot of the time. Let me ask you this. Why do you feel the need to jump in a lot of the time? What is it that makes you do that? Because often I find it's a blind spot for senior leaders when I'm coaching them. You think you're helping, but you're actually creating what I call a reliability trap. Because when you constantly step in to fix a problem that your team should be solving, you trigger a pattern where they stop trying to work out how to do things themselves. And then what happens is that you become the bottleneck to the very growth and scalability that you're trying to achieve. Now, I want you to look at your own triggers for jumping in to solve things. For example, is it when you see a certain person's email land in your inbox? A lot of people say to me that happens then. Or is it a specific type of task? When that trigger hits, your hero default kicks in. You think to yourself, oh, it'll just be faster if I do it myself. But that thought is what I call the enemy of scale. By identifying these different triggers, you'll be able to take a moment to pause and see the situation for what it is. And that is a moment when you're choosing short-term speed over long-term impact. And when you start to see those patterns emerging, that's when you gain the power to break them. You move from the hero who fixes things to the leader who empowers others to fix them. Now, the next step is to choose your master move. Now, I want you to select the highest leverage action. This is the move that changes the game for your leadership and for the business outcomes that you're dealing with. Now, the difference here is that instead of giving the answer, you provide the framework. Now, this move creates the biggest impact because it scales. If you can move your team from waiting for orders and wait to be told to do something to taking things head on and owning the outcomes, you've just multiplied your own impact by the size of your team. Does that make sense? That's what I call leverage. Now, think about your master move as a force multiplier. What action could you take this week that would make your team 20% more independent? Now, for example, it could be a new delegating protocol you've been dying to implement, but you've just been putting it off. It could be how you run your weekly reviews and your weekly meetings. Why don't you try getting others to lead them? Whatever it is for you, select the move that feels like it changes the fundamental physics of the way your team and department operates. And what happens is that you now know exactly what you need to focus on with your energy. You see the master move that changes the game. So now we're going to focus on locking in this shift. This is phase 3 of the master move method, and it's about moving from being the person who saves the day to the person who designs the day. Now, to do this, you're going to have to be disciplined. If you're committed to stepping out of that hero role, you're going to have to allow for a period of adjustment where things might feel a little bit unsettled while the team learns to lead instead of you. And what happens is, as you embed this change by you normalize that self-sufficiency, making it clear that it's the new expected standard for everyone. And over time, your impact starts to become undeniable when you see your team consistently stepping up to solve problems that used to land on your desk. Now, you'll know you've succeeded when you can step away for a week, go on holiday, and your team and the organization doesn't just maintain things, things accelerate. That's what I'm talking about. That's the new standard that you're creating. Now, when that happens, you're no longer the reliability trap and that bottleneck, right? You've become the architect of a high performance culture. Now, I want you to own that new identity. When you lead through systems rather than through rescue missions, you stop fighting for a seat at the top table. You become the one setting the table. And the idea is that your transition is complete and your impact is permanent. Now, the shift from being an indispensable problem solver to a strategic leader isn't about working harder. It's about having the courage to change how you deliver value. It's about moving from those short-term fixes to much more long-term leverage. Now, if you're ready to stop being the bottleneck and start building a self-sustaining legacy, I've put together a resource to help you map all of that out. If you click the link in the description, go ahead and watch my Master Move Executive Summary. That breaks down the exact framework that I use for making that transition stick with all the people that I work with. And for those of you who just want to move faster and would like some personal guidance to identifying and executing your specific master move right now, you can book a strategy call through the link in the description below as well. We'll look at the way you currently structure things and identify exactly where to make the changes you need to pull the trigger to make the biggest impact. That's what I'm all about, making big impact. Lastly, if you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate you giving the video a like and also hit the subscribe button to join me here on my channel. Thank you for watching and I will see you next time.